name is Ray Hutchins, and I'm president of the Sim Game Exchange, a company based in Boulder, Colorado, that facilitates many different kinds of business in the interactive gaming and simulation space. I'm also president of the Interactive Gaming and Simulation Alliance, an organization comprised of all the gaming companies in Colorado. We're all dedicated to making Colorado into the next national gaming cluster. And with me today is someone that will be of great interest to you, Lisa Cosmos Hanson, the managing partner of Niko Partners and an expert on the Chinese video game market. Lisa is going to share some of her valuable knowledge about the Chinese video game market and how you can break into that market. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you very much.
Lisa, I'd like to talk to you about two things today. First, about the Chinese gaming market itself, and then about ways that you think a Western gaming company can break into the Chinese market. But first, can you tell us a little bit about Niko Partners and how you got involved in the Chinese video game market?
Niko Partners was founded at the end of 2001, and it didn't originally focus on just the Chinese video game industry, but by 2003 we had narrowed our focus from market research and market entry consulting of a broader range of multimedia software to simply the video game industry. And it turned out that China was a market where there was not a lot of information, but there was a great deal of demand for games, and there was a great deal of interest from Western and foreign companies to try to understand what was going on in that market. So for the past 5 years, Niko Partners, a small market research and market entry consulting firm based in Silicon Valley and now also in Shanghai, has been focused entirely on researching the demand and supply of games, game hardware, gamers, and everything that has to do with China's video game industry. So we have 5 years of data collection, 5 years of analysis, 5 years of meeting people, meeting partners, meeting government officials, and 5 years of consulting with our clients who are primarily American, European, or Japanese companies who are looking to better understand that ever-changing, fast-growing market of China.
So, Lisa, can you tell us about the Chinese video game market? For instance, how large is that market?
China's market is different from America's market. It's comprised primarily of online games in terms of the revenue that is generated. So most of the press and most of what people understand about China's market relates entirely to online games. However, there are online games, there are PC offline games, there are console games, and there are handheld games that are played frequently throughout the market. In fact, even though 90% of the revenue in 2006, which measured $1.1 billion of revenue for online and software for games, about 90% of that was for online games, but for the amount of time that gamers spend playing games, about 35% is on PC offline or console or handheld games. So the revenue does not accurately reflect how people are playing, but it does reflect what people are paying for. So the market can be categorized as diverse in terms of the type of platform, but very concentrated in terms of the revenue generation, which is all in online, and that has a lot to do with piracy. In 2007, that $1.1 billion will be rising to about $1.4 billion. And then through 2011, we're expecting about 17% compound annual growth rate from the 5-year previous period.
What overall trends are you seeing in the Chinese video game market?
Trends in China's market are that there are a greater diversity of genres being offered to gamers for online games, whereas in the years past, almost everything had been MMORPG and cultural history or some sort of battle format. Now there are a lot of what they call cute style, softer, gentler characters in what would be categorized as an advanced casual game that has a shorter gameplay time than, say, a World of Warcraft where people play for hours and hours on end. We see that the diversity of genres will spread from first-person shooter games to sports games to racing games, simulation, and really offering more of the widespread types of games that you see in the United States to Chinese gamers as well. That's one trend. There are many trends that have to do with evolving business models, the distribution of the games in terms of their origin, whereas so many games in the years past have come from Korea. Now there are many games that come from China. There are games from Japan and games from the United States. So really that market changes so much that to sum it all up as one trend would be to do it injustice.
What's the state of the Chinese MMO market?
Well, the MMO market there has been one that is filled with games that kind of are reflective of each other. A lot of historical themes, cultural history themes, games from Korea, games from the United States, and a few games also from China. Now there are many more games that are being developed in China with sort of in China, for China, about China, and that seems to play well with Chinese gamers and with Chinese regulators. The important factor in China is that so many games are played at internet cafes. By Niko Partners' estimate, there are 225,000 internet cafes across the country with about 20 million PCs installed throughout the country.
Big number.
So if your game does not play well in a cafe with the specs of the common denominator of hardware that's in the cafe, then people will not be able to play your game because at least 50% of gaming takes place in such cafes.
What kinds of games do the Chinese like to play?
Chinese gamers like to play a variety of games. They like to play online games, they like to play offline games, they like to play console games. We calculate that about 32% of the 44 million Chinese gamers are considered to be hardcore, whereas they play more than 60 hours a month of games. So in those 60 hours, which is probably on the low end for the truly hardcore gamers, they play a wide variety of games. However, the fastest growing group of gamers is along the more casual, occasional gamers rather than the hardcore. So you can see throughout those 44 million gamers a wide distribution of the types of games that they enjoy to play. The hardcore gamers like to play things that are cultural history, mythical history, RPG type of games, sometimes 3D, sometimes 2D, it just depends. If a gamer is playing a first-person shooter game, they probably will tone down the graphics so that they can have faster connection speeds because you have to worry about some internet connectivity through the internet backbone in China. It's just not as established as it would be in the United States or elsewhere. And then for the more casual gamers, they like to play cute style, softer shapes of characters, softer colors, a shorter gameplay experience. There's a wide range of games that people like to play, and it just really depends on the type of gamer that you're talking about.
That was very interesting.